Anheuser-Busch, ticker symbol BUD. This is Bud, came out with earnings this week. And I'll tell you, it's still not able to recover from the downside it saw thanks to its marketing disaster. So it had mixed earnings because it's still struggling with this Bud Light fiasco. Look, it's a huge company, okay? It's a multinational company. It's really no longer the Anheuser-Busch that you used to think of, right? This is a very different company now because it was the combo of a Brazilian beer conglomerate along with a Belgian beer company. And so you had the Europeans and the Brazilians come together. They bought none other than Bud, or AB InBev, or rather just Anheuser-Busch, and became AB InBev. They go under the ticker symbol Bud because it's more clever, of course. And so they're very diversified and they have lots of different businesses and lots of different brands, and they're operating in all kinds of various corners of the globe. But nonetheless, the Bud Light thing is still a problem. They went from the #1 brand in America, and they kept falling and falling and falling and falling. We were looking at these numbers, and they're down to #3. And before you say, well, they're still #3, like, look, that's a big fall. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a really big fall. And then when you look inside these numbers, it ain't pretty, as they say. They did manage to beat on estimates, but the revenue was a bit light. So the revenue that they reported was $15.33 billion, big company, like I said. It was lower than the $15.49 billion that was expected. So Wall Street had anticipated something a little bit better. The earnings did come in per share at 90 cents versus estimates of 86 cents. So that's good news for them. But still, you want that revenue to be robust. One of the reasons their revenue is not robust is because of the marketing disaster that gets to live another day. I mean, it just lives on and it lives on and it lives on. And even though you got Kid Rock singing your praises, even though you got Dana from Dana White singing your praises, and he did a deal with them as well. Even though Donald Trump is like, hey, this is not that bad a company. People just can't shake this, and it's because it's become symbolic of something. And I think people are pretty darn tired of it. So take a look inside this revenue report, inside the earnings report. What you actually see is this stunning, stunning, stunning number. In the 4-week period ending July 6, 2024, Bud Light sales are down 18.6% from a year ago. So in other words, this summer, it's getting worse. It's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. They're down 18.6% from where they were last year. And you know that last year they were suffering because this has been going on for like a year and a half now. And you compare and contrast it, say, to Miller Lite, which is only down 0.1%. So you can't get away with saying, oh, nobody's drinking beer anymore. They've moved on. They're drinking wine. They're drinking spritzers. They're drinking champagne. That's what I drink. Anyway, none of that is a worthwhile excuse. It's still just this Bud Light hangover thing. You look at Coors Banquet, it's up 16.3%. Coors Light grew 2.3%. This is all according to data from Bump Williams Consulting, as well as Nielsen IQ being reported first by Yahoo Finance here. So they got a problem, and they just can't seem to get away from it. And, I think there's a lesson to be learned in all this. I hope that Disney starts to get the message. Don, I saw in your comments, again, we're live, guys, we're live, so be careful what you write. I saw Don Baca talking about Disney there, and Disney hovering around $90. Listen, I got to talk to Rob about it. At some point, maybe it gets interesting. I know it's sort of sacrilegious to say that, but it would probably have to be down in I'm guessing the high 70s for anybody to get really interested. It's a great brand, Disney. Just like Bud was a great brand. Bud, I don't think, however, is going to be able to recover in the same exact way, in part because it's so easily substituted with something else, right? Like Coors Light. You can easily substitute the brand. Disney, there are other competitors out there, but it's a little bit more challenging. If they can ever figure out how to get their business back in line, I still think it's a pretty exciting brand. Americana, you think Disney, I mean, it's just been in shambles over the last several years and been taken over by wokeism, almost like Bud was, right? And Bud paid the price. So let this be a warning to Disney. Let this be a warning to other companies out there. I mean, America is just not there. Thank goodness. I mean, call me old-fashioned, but, an X and a Y used to mean you'd be competing against male boxers. That's not what happened, right? In the Olympics this year. We